And it is my pleasure to be introducing the wife and son of the first Black veterinarian from Houston, Texas. How are you doing today?
Fine,
How are you
Doing
doing?
just
What is your
great.
name? Introduce yourself.
McWilliams.
Jodine.
And I'm for Daryl McWilliams.
Okay, so who are your parents? Your parents?
George and Minnie.
And of course, this is your mom
This is my mom.
and your father, for Bert McWilliams. Okay, so before living in Third Ward, where did you guys live?
Well, actually, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, but I've lived in several states. But when I came here, I was coming from Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay, so you was traveling also a lot. Okay, so what schools did you attend? I know you say you moved a lot, so
Tuskegee.
Tuskegee.
It's called Tuskegee University now. At that time, it was Tuskegee Institute.
In Alabama, correct?
Yes, in Alabama.
And when you was growing up in Third Ward, where did you school attend?
What school did I attend?
Yes.
When I graduated from Jack Yates from high school.
Okay.
J. Will Jones Elementary and William E. Miller as we called junior high school back then. Y'all know, say middle school.
Great. So how did you guys meet?
Well, I was a transfer student, and so was he. Really, he started off at Prairie View, and I was at home at a local school, Des Moines College. So I think my first year there was I graduated in '47, he in '49. But anyway, I had taken a chemistry class, and you know, I know you've seen the movie where the teachers constantly writing, you know, and everything. And most people fail that class, you know. But anyway, I shot one bullet at. I asked him a question, and he wrote my name down, and I passed.
Oh, that's
You know,
good
he
then.
remembered me. But nevertheless, what really happened is this was the first year for the School of Veterinary Medicine, and he was in the first class.
Okay.
And they were looking, one of the science teachers was looking for somebody to serve as his aide. And they asked, and anyway, this same chemistry teacher recommended me. And my
Okay.
husband was in that particular class.
Yes, and that's how
And
y'all
we
met.
didn't, I was busy and he was busy. I didn't even know, you know, him. But anyway, somebody teased him and said, "Oh, you such a hot, you don't even know that lady. You're scared to talk to her." And so we just started talking. That's it.
Right after that. Do you know what inspired him to choose that field? Because, you know, he played a very important role in becoming the, you know, first Black vet from
Yeah.
Texas.
You know, basically he just loved animals. He really loved animals, and they did not offer it to Black students anywhere, really.
Yeah,
To not, at least he didn't. They had. He did tell me how many schools they had, but anyway, they all turned him down. And then he decided to try to get into A&M.
Yeah, actually, he started off at Prairie View.
Yeah, started off at
And,
Trent
he
and
was-
Dr. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in agriculture, but he did love animals, and he wanted to get into vet school.
Okay.
And it was just around the time that Tuskegee was trying to start up their first class, and so the veterinarian that was working with Prairie View recommended him to Tuskegee because they wouldn't accept him at Texas A&M because he was Black.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
so he got financial assistance from the state to go to Tuskegee, which back then was something that they did. The state would help pay. They had a reciprocal agreement, so that Blacks who wanted to get an education in something that this state wasn't offering, they could go to another state to do, so that the state of Texas wouldn't have to pay for build a
Yeah,
school
that
or
was
whatever.
very nice to them. So I hear you talk about, you know, his love of animals. Do you remember, like, growing up in the house with animals, or did y'all have any pets or anything?
We had pets all the time, and everybody else's animal too. He loved dogs, and so we always had dog. We had birds. We had snakes. We had
I have the whole zoo.
yeah. We had what else do we have? Squirrels, all kinds of animals. You name it. He was an exotic veterinarian, so we had wild animals. Also, we had coyotes. And,
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. Not at the house. She didn't have any of them at the house, but we'd keep them at the office and at other places. We had livestock.
Did you enjoy it, having all those animals?
Well, I just did the paperwork. For the office, I mean. I didn't really go over there. Well, I did go over there one day, and I walked in, I saw this great big black snake in there, in a cage, and I backed out of the door. So I never really worked down there. I just did what was needed at the house, more or less.
So I also hear y'all talking about, how hard it was for him to get accepted into certain universities because he was black. So what about his business? Did y'all face any obstacles when he had his business on Dowling Street before he moved it?
Well, sure. I mean, when he first finished, he and came back to Texas. Well, initially he went to practice in Omaha, Nebraska, and then he came back to Texas to take the exam, and the exam was held at Texas A&M, and it was a 2-day exam. So he went to take the exam. They told him he couldn't take it because it was a 2-day exam, and he was not allowed to spend the night being black.
Wow.
In that town. So he had to take the exam in 1 day, and he did pass.
That's amazing.
But they didn't know they had land out there. He could have spent the night, but they were trying to get him out of town, I guess. So
That's right. So do y'all know why he actually moved his business to Wheeler Street?
Why he did what?
Why he moved it?
Well, where he started, it was a smaller place. And his business had expanded, so until he needed more room, and so that's why he moved. He had been there for 10 years on Dowling.
Yeah. And also, what role do you think it played? It was important for a black community to have their first black vet clinic, and if they had a pet or something, they would have to go somewhere far to take care of their animals. So how convenient was that? Like the roles y'all seen change in the community?
Well, at that time, that street was named Dowling. And it was heavily. It was a thoroughfare that was a lot of traffic going into town, from the area where we now live over further up on. Was not Third Ward over there by the bridge, but anyway. So the first clients really were white, and it took a little time for the blacks to to come in. I guess they weren't accustomed to it, but it was So he really didn't have a problem, getting started.
Getting his business up there off the ground.
Yeah.
Sure.
He had worked in Omaha, Nebraska, with a veterinarian that was the veterinarian for for the racetrack. And so he had a lot of experience there. And so he started doing horses and whatnot in addition to that. And the material we gave you shows that he just about treated all kind of possible animals.
Yes. So also the mural was painted on the side of the building?
Inside.
No.
Oh, it's inside.
We have it's on outside plexiglass.
Yeah, there's a plexiglass mural on the outside of the building that was done by an
Carol
artist named
Sims.
Carol Sims. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the mural that most people know that's been in the museums and a lot of art books is Red Barn Farm, which was done by Dr. John Biggers. They were close friends.
And where do you say that was located? So if people want to go see, they go check it out.
Well, right now
What?
it's at our house right now, so I can't come
okay.
check
Well,
it out.
yeah, that picture roamed around. It was in the
Loaded.
Museum of Fine Arts. That mural was, and then when how libraries and museums ship stuff from one site to another.
Yeah.
So that particular one has just been all over the United States and many states, So they insured it, and when they brought it back, I happened to see the tag of how much it was insured for, so I didn't let them put it in the office. It's at the house.
Yeah, okay, that does make
Yeah.
sense. So also, how have you seen Third Ward transform in your eyes from when he first started the clinic to what it is now, and also with gentrification going on?
Well, really, when we first, everybody would say, go to Third Ward, start your business in Third Ward, start your business Third. We were living with his parents for about 1.5 years or 2 years. We moved to Third Ward, and we had a temporary, location. But it just grew Is that your question? It just grew.
Yes. How do you feel about, how have you seen Third Ward transform? Like
Oh,
from
you
what it
know-
was in 1950s to
You
what
know-
you see now when you're, you know, driving around?
Actually, it's so many whites in the neighborhood now. At first, it was very, you know, it was the place where we.
I can tell you how.
Oh yeah,
saw
it's
it.
changed.
How you
It's-
feel?
I was a kid growing up in Third Ward, and
Yeah.
it was like epicenter of the educated blacks. Down. It was a community, though. The black community back then was everybody. I mean, the doctors, the teachers, the lawyers, everybody lived in the same community. So we weren't separated. But it was a real thriving community. We did business with each other. Everybody took their dogs to, their pets to my father. We had a couple of doctors, like Dr. Miner. Everybody went to him. You know, we had a thriving community. There were movie theaters
Owned by black
on
people.
Dowling, Park and the Dowling Theater. The Emancipation Park is where I learned to swim. I mean, it was just it was a lot of commerce there.
Nightclubs.
Mac Hanna had a savings and loan there, and he was probably the richest guy in the, the
So
wealthiest
you
guy in the
speaking
city.
of, all these
So-
black businesses and stuff like that, how do you feel, how important do you feel it is to support black business? Because she said she see a lot of whites now with gentrification going on. We need to support black business.
Well, I think it's very important to support black businesses. I guess what I want to say is we did, as a race, we did a lot better as when we were segregated, doing business together. But we always wanted to go out and do business elsewhere, see what other stores were like and such.
Have an open mind.
Yeah, and so once we got integration, then people did start going out. We went out different places to live, different places to eat, different places, and it kind of cut back on the black community's wealth, because dollars continue to circulate in the black community practically forever, whereas now they're going out constantly. So it caused the black community, I think, to kind of atrophy in some respect. TSU was just starting. It was, everything was growing in that area. And when blacks would go to other schools, go to other places, it just slowed down the growth.
So since you are a Jack Yates alumni, what do you think about the new facility, and the tours that they gave you?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a beautiful school, and all. Although I have great memories of the original Jack Yates. So for its time, I think it was a great school when I was there. I finished in '67, and my brother finished in '66. I mean, we just had a lot of fun, and I hope it's the same here, and that people work together and have the camaraderie and will stay together through life like most of us did.
So knowing your father, tribulations and the obstacles he faced, did you follow any of his footsteps of becoming a vet, or what career field did you go into?
No, I'd already been a veterinarian all my life. He had us working from a very, very young age at wherever he went. We'd had to get up in the morning and go.
Oh, wow. So do whatever he did.
Yeah, when he went to, even before school, we'd have to go out to the country at 5 o'clock in the morning and bottle feed calves and do all types of stuff to help him, and on the weekends. And so by the time I finished and went to college, I didn't want to. I'd already been doing that.
Oh, so you chose to do something else,
Yeah.
okay? Because you was already a master at that.
Well, I wouldn't say master, but I saw all the dirty stuff work, and I decided I didn't want to continue doing that. It was a great occupation, though. Yeah.
One ended up as a CPA, and another as a certified financial planner. So
Oh, okay, so that's
a
way
long ways from
different.
veterinary medicine.
So what career field did you go in? Are you also a vet too? Are you also a vet?
No,
I have a degree in institutional management, and I worked in TSU for 18 years and HISD 16 years.
She was the first director of food services for Texas Southern University when they were trying to develop Texas Southern. She came here and got that job.
And I tell people all the time that I had the first air-conditioned office over there when they built that building, because Hannah Hall didn't have air conditioning at that time. So I had the only air-conditioned office. That's history.
Yeah, that is. So do you miss anything from the 1950s, or do you see anything that we are missing now that we could use from the 1950s? With like everything going on in the community, like with shootings and stuff like that.
No, it just wasn't as much of it. I don't know how they can handle it, but I think some of the negligence on politicians in controlling the guns and whatnot is prevalent everywhere, really, now.
Yeah. Did the business interfere with any of that?
Did the what?
Like back in the 1950s, did the business interfere with any of that, like in the communities and violence or anything?
No. We came in 50. No.
So the community was more put together and peaceful at the time.
You know, one thing that we're missing now, there's no real infrastructure in the inner city here. I mean, we had grocery stores all over the place. We had, now they're very, very few, far between. There's just not that much as far as commerce here. It's a lot of I hate to say bars. I want to say holes in walls, but I go to them. But that's mostly what we have, in here in the inner city, Third Ward now. And like I said before, we had banks, we had businesses, we had a lot of that, and that's what's missing. And that's what I like to see now with this new project, Main Street project, that hopefully we're going to get more of that back.
Oh, what mainstream project are y'all working on, if you don't mind me to ask?
Okay, there's a project right now called Project Main Street that is going on to try and revitalize the Emancipation Street, and I guess bring back a lot of the commerce that like it was before.
Yes, and I also remember you saying you remember playing at Emancipation Park and all that. How do you feel about the remodel they've done so far of it?
Oh, they did a great job. It really did. I learned to swim in that pool, and that pool is the only thing that's still there. The building and everything else has changed. The grounds have changed. There's places to play for the little kids, amphitheater. I mean, yeah, it's a great spot. It's where I understand it's just not being utilized enough yet, but hopefully that'll come.
So that was really good. So that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you for your time and all.
Thank you.
And will you say your name was again?
No, not at all.
Oh. She's Geraldine McWilliams.
Okay.
And I'm Ford McWilliams.
Okay, thank you.
All right.